Here we go again with another live show. More English words and phrases to keep you on the go. Listen carefully to my voice and soon you will see just how simple and easy English can be. It's 2 o'clock here in the UK and this is Live English. Are we still here? Does the world still exist? Is planet Earth still in one piece? I hope so. Hi everybody and welcome. It is Sunday. How are you today? Are you okay? I hope so. Are you happy? I hope so. So here we go again. Here we go. Oh my goodness, we are here for 2 hours. I have now to talk to you for 2 hours. I have to fill 2 hours of time with chat and other things for the next 2 hours. But what am I going to do? How am I going to spend the next 2 hours talking to you? Well, 2 hours from now, we will all know the answer to that question. So here we go. It's Sunday. September is here. September has arrived. Hello, September. How are you? And it's been a good August, by the way. Did you have a good August? My August was very busy. Of course, I had my birthday in August. I woke up especially early this morning, by the way. I decided to do something very different. I was feeling very adventurous today. So I decided to have a shave without using a mirror. And as you can see, it didn't go very well. So here we go. It's Live English. For those who don't know who I am, my name is Duncan, Mr. Duncan, and I have been on YouTube teaching English for over 10 years. In fact, next month, on the 31st of October, it will be 11 years since I started teaching on YouTube. Can you believe it? 11 years since I started teaching English, and here I am still doing it to this very day. Oh my goodness. And here is a very sobering thought. In 4 weeks' time, that is 4 weeks from now, Christmas cards will be on sale in the shops. Just 4 weeks from today, there will be Christmas cards in the shops. Can you believe it? I certainly can't. It's been a very busy week on planet Earth. Have you noticed? First of all, YouTube, the very site that you are watching now, YouTube has changed its design. What do you think of the new look YouTube? Do you like it? There are some very strange choices, some very strange decisions have been made by YouTube. For example, if you go to your channel, you can now have your channel in the dark. So the whole screen is black. And of course, you may have noticed that YouTube has also changed its logo as well. All I wish is that YouTube would treat some of its long-term publishers a little bit better. Of course, I'm talking about me, because I've been on YouTube for nearly 11 years. So YouTube has changed. It has made a few changes to its design. What do you think? Now, I've been on YouTube since 2006, so I remember the old days of YouTube. And over the years, there have been many changes being made on YouTube. Many things have changed on this site. So every time YouTube makes some changes, everyone normally complain. They start complaining about everything. So normally people complain when YouTube makes changes. But what do you think? What do you think? So today we have lots of other things coming your way. Yesterday I went for a lovely walk, and of course you can't have a walk in England without seeing this taking place. Can you see what's happening here? It's a good old-fashioned English cricket match. So this was taking place yesterday on the field, not very far away from where I live, and they are playing cricket. It is a game that I don't particularly like watching. I don't particularly enjoy watching cricket, to be honest. Ooh, did you see that? Wow, he really hit the ball very hard there. Did you notice that? So, the cricket match was taking place. I think it was the local cricket club here in Much Wenlock they were playing yesterday. And I don't know about you, but I think watching cricket is very boring. Well, except for when that happens. I do like it when the ball goes very far, but sometimes nothing happens for a very long time. So sometimes cricket can be very boring. Let's see if something exciting happens now. Let's have a look. Here we go. The bowler is about to throw the ball. Here he goes, and... wow, did you see that? They all seem very excited by what just happened then. What did just happen then? I have no idea. I must be honest with you, I don't really enjoy watching cricket, and also I don't really understand the game of cricket, you see. So I have a slight problem with cricket. A couple of weeks ago we were talking about sport, weren't we? And I was talking about my least favourite sport, and I mentioned golf, but also cricket as well is a little dull. Lots of things going on around where I live, including, yes, the harvest has started. There you can see a lovely cornfield waiting to be harvested, and the harvest has started this week. So at the moment, near to where I live, there are many fields full of wheat and barley, and at the moment they are all being harvested. And there you can see in the distance there is a wheat field being harvested. So that actually happened this week near my house. And this is a very busy time of the year for farmers. Farmers very often at this time of the year start to harvest. They collect all of the things that they've been growing during the summer, and there they are. There in the distance you can see a combine harvester. That's what that machine is called. It's called a combine harvester, and that collects all of the grain. It separates the grain from the rest of the wheat. It's very clever, a very clever machine. And there is a tractor, so that particular tractor is now gathering what's left of the wheat. So all of the things that are left on the ground, the tractor will go along and collect, and then it will be turned into bales of hay. So there you can see some hay bales once again on a field near me, and there I am trying to push one of the big heavy bales of hay, and I must admit they are very heavy indeed. You can see me straining. Look at the expression on my face. Now that's also the expression that I have when I suffer from constipation, for those who are interested. So there's some views from the week. Also in my garden at the moment, Lots of lovely things growing in my garden right now as well. Some lovely Japanese anemones are growing at the moment in my garden. They are the most beautiful flowers. They have the most gorgeous pink colour. And as you can see, the flies also enjoy landing on them. You can see lots of small fruit flies. So the flies you can see buzzing around there are fruit flies. So there they are in my garden. My beautiful Japanese anemones are growing rather nicely. I must admit, at this time of the year, as autumn approaches, quite a lot of the colour disappears from the garden. But I'm pleased to say that the Japanese anemones do bring a nice splash of colour to the garden. So I hope you enjoyed that. Some views from my garden and also some views from around the area I live in. Thank you very much for joining me today. It is so nice to see you here once again. It's Mr. Duncan. We are now in September. Also today, have you heard on the news? North Korea once again are trying their best to bring planet Earth to an end. What is going on there? I mean, there he is, Kim Jong-un, with his latest death weapon. Hang on a second, that's not a nuclear weapon. That's Pee Wee Herman's breakfast machine. That's Pee Wee Herman's breakfast machine from Pee Wee's Big Adventure. What is the problem with that guy? I mean, come on. My theory is that he was bullied when he was at school. That's what I think. Now, come on. Kim Jong-un, if you're listening, if you're watching, because I do know that you have your own secret internet in North Korea, cut it out, okay? Just cut it out. Just stop it, okay? Whatever it is you're planning to do, don't do it. Please. Thank you very much. There we go. World peace has just been restored, thanks to Mr. Duncan. Well, lots of people are joining me today on the live chat. I haven't mentioned the live chat yet. Of course, you have a chance to get involved with this very program. Yes, because it's here for you to get involved. We have lots of people wanting to say hello. Pedro is here. Hello, Pedro. Nice to see you once again. Pedro Belmont is here. Agnaldo is here. Bom dia. Bom dia. Franco da Roche, Sao Paulo in Brazil. Oh, thank you very much. That's very kind of you. Koi Najuan is here. Hello to you as well. Lots of people watching in Vietnam, of course. Kien Mac says, hello, YouTube. Hello, Kien from YouTube. Eleanor is here. Hello, Eleanor. Thanks for joining me today. Lots of lovely people on the live chat. Hader Asadi is here, also saying hello to everybody on YouTube. And of course, there are lots of people watching. Nadeem is here. Hello, Nadeem. Nadeem is watching in Pakistan. Hello to you as well. Jamelia is here. Jamelia watching in North Africa. Hello to you. Olga says, good afternoon, Mr. Duncan. Are you okay? I am okay, but this morning I decided to have a shave without using the mirror. So I tried to have a shave without a mirror. And as you can see, it didn't go very well. So I won't be doing that again. Marwa is here. Hello, everybody, and hello to Marwa. Thank you very much for joining me. Hader is actually watching in Iraq. Thank you very much for that. Algeria is watching. Hi, Algeria, and that is Milano who is watching. Wow, Mr. Duncan, 11 years says Bebe. Yes, it's true. I've been making my English videos on YouTube for almost 11 years. It's true. And if you want to watch my videos, you can find all of my lessons on the playlists under this video. So all of my lesson playlists are available. You can watch my lessons under this video. Yes, you can. Coming up later on today, we have lots of questions to ask. We also have the mystery idioms. Very popular. Lots of people like to get involved with the mystery idioms, and there will be 2 more mystery idioms coming today. Also some questions as well to ask, including, do you ever gamble? Do you ever gamble? Do you ever wager or place a bet on something? Now, some people love gambling. They love to put some money or bet some money. So if you gamble, we can also say that you bet. So betting is gambling. We can also say wager. So if you make a bet or you place a bet, or if you gamble, we can say that you wager. So do you ever gamble? I know in some countries gambling is illegal. Here in the UK, gambling is not illegal. It is actually legal. You are able to do it, although it is very tightly controlled. Another subject today: what was or what is your favourite subject at school? Was there a particular subject that you were very good at? So, a question to ask everyone today: what was or what is, just in case you're still at school, your favourite subject at school? So if you have a favourite subject, or if you had a favourite subject at school, please let me know on the live chat. I will be saying hello to all of you again a little bit later on. Of course, I am here to help you with your English. Today we are talking about the differences between British and American English. We will be watching a lesson all about British and American English, and of course the differences between them. Also, later on, of course, for his 4th week now, Mr. Steve has been joining us over the past 3 weeks, and this week he is here once again. He is here. It's Mr. Steve on the live chat, and he will be joining us a little bit later on. Of course, we have Mr. Steve now joining us every week with his flash phrases, but also we have Mr. Steve live at 3 o'clock. And today I'm going to test Mr. Steve. I'm going to find out how many American English words he knows. So I'm going to give him some American English words, and he has to give me the British English equivalent. So that's what we'll be doing later on. Of course, Mr. Steve, very well known now. So Mr. Steve is coming up at 3 o'clock today, live at 3. And there is Mr. Steve. Can you see what he's doing there? What he is doing? He is acting on stage. And that is Mr. Steve during one of his shows that he did. He was playing the part of Scrooge in A Christmas Carol. So there is Mr. Steve doing some of his stage work. Also, something else that I'm going to be showing you very soon. We're going to have a look at one of my Ask Mr. Duncan lessons. Ask Mr. Duncan was a series of lessons that I did over 2 or 3 years. I have made around about 45 Ask Mr. Duncan lessons, and I thought it would be fun to take a look at one of my Ask Mr. Duncan lessons. And now we are going to watch one of my Ask Mr. Duncan lessons from, I think it was from 2010 or maybe 2009. 13. I think so. I'm not quite sure now. It's Ask Mr. Duncan number 23. Hi everybody, this is Mr. Duncan in England. How are you today? Are you okay? I hope so. Are you happy? I hope so. As you can see, I'm wearing my birthday suit today. Well, it's not exactly my birthday suit because then I would be naked. That's what birthday suit means, to be in the nude. Yes, my birthday is coming and I have yet another purple vein on my ankle to prove it. Do you want to see my purple vein? Here it is. Look, more purple veins on Mr. Duncan's ankles. It's terrible. Oh, dear me. Anyway, here I am once again with another selection of your email questions and comments. So without any more daydreaming about cakes and presents, let's have our first question for today. What is the difference between learn and study? This question was sent in by Mohammed Jawad, who lives in Baghdad, Iraq. Generally speaking, the main difference between these two words is that one is active and the other passive. The act of studying, the act of learning. You do both. To study is an action, to learn is an action. To learn is what happens when you study. You learn from doing your studies. Study can mean to observe or look carefully at. Learn means to gain something from an experience. For example, from reading a book or attending a class. You learn from these actions. If you study English, then you will learn how to speak it. A nice email. Please don't eat that apple. I need it for later. Thank you. I have received a nice email from Rita, who lives in Taiwan. Rita is about to take her TOEFL test, so she can study in the USA. In her email, Rita expresses confusion surrounding the preparation process for this exam and the material that is available to help you get through this test. A common problem with some students is that they over-prepare and become pulled down by the exercise books they are reading from and studying with. It is possible to over-prepare. Do not try to learn too many things at the same time. Study time should be spaced out with breaks in between. Doing too much in a short time can be just as bad as not doing enough. Another thing I would say to you is that from your written English, you seem to have a good grasp of the English language. This is another common problem with upper intermediate English students. Knowing your level of English is very important. Many students tend to think that their English is poorer than it really is. Try to be realistic when judging your performance. Being overcritical of yourself can be just as bad as being too confident. Your grammar is clearly very good, so I would suggest concentrating on your weak points. Make a list of the things you feel that you do best and concentrate on the things you are still unsure of. After all that worrying and stress, you may find that your only real weakness is a lack of confidence, which is completely normal and can be improved with practice. Some fruity idioms. This is an apple, and there are many phrases and idioms that contain and use this particular fruit's name. The apple of your eye, a person you are deeply in love with. You love this person very much. He or she is the apple of your eye. As American as apple pie, something which is unmistakably a part of USA culture. A rotten apple. a bad person or a person who cannot be trusted. He is a bad apple. An apple a day keeps the doctor away. This very old proverb relates to keeping fit by eating well. Apples are good for you, so an apple a day keeps the doctor away. How do we use either when choosing from more than two things? This very interesting question comes from Andreas Quezada, who lives in Chile. When making a choice or a selection from two items, we may express no particular liking. We choose either. Either will do. If the choice involves more than two objects, then we use the word any. Any will do. We do not mind which one we have. Do you want an orange or an apple or a banana? Any will be fine. Any will be okay. We can also use all in certain situations. Which fruit do you prefer? All of them are okay. I like them all. A brand new feature. Now it is time for a new feature on Ask Mr. Duncan. It's the first ever, never done before. How long will it run for? Super amazing. Quite good, really. Word of the week. No. That's too much echo. Too much echo. Turn it down. Oh dear. Word of the week. Exaggerate. This week's word is exaggerate. This means to add something to a story that makes it sound more exciting, to make something seem better or worse than it really is. For example, the other day I went fishing and caught a huge trout. Yes, I'm exaggerating. In fact, what really happened was that I went fishing the other day and caught nothing. I have exaggerated the story. What are the differences between this and these? This question was sent in by Dan in Russia. Both of these words are used as pronouns. This is used as a singular pronoun, while these is used as the plural. Many students tend to confuse the two and often use the single this to refer to many things. For example, as you all know, I make many English teaching videos. I make these videos for you. These relates to all of my work. If I were to talk about the video you are watching now, then I would say that I have made this video for you. The word this shows that I'm talking about one thing. This box, this man, this time, this moment. If I want to talk about more than one thing, then I will use these instead. I make these videos for you. I can also say I made these videos for you. The word these clearly shows that I'm talking about more than one thing. It is also worth mentioning that make in the sentence suggests that I will continue doing the activity I'm talking about, whereas made relates to my past work up until this point. These boxes, these men, these times, these moments. It is worth noting that this can also be used as an adverb. I'm not used to doing this much work. Before I leave you today to go off and choose my birthday cake for next week, I would like to say a special pre-birthday hello to some of my new Facebook friends, including Alisa, Moon, Abdus, Enksarul, Veronica, Leandro from Brazil but now living in the Netherlands, Tuong An in Vietnam, and a warm welcome to Marcus from Germany, who is currently over here taking in the sights and sounds of England. a big hello to you all. That is all from me for this week. I will see you all again soon for some more of your questions and comments. Keep sending your emails in to me. And next week, who knows, I could be saying hello to you. This is Mr. Duncan in England, saying thanks for watching me, answering you. And of course, ta-ta for now! I must say I've hardly changed in 7 years. What do you think? Oh dear me, I am so deluded. So there it was. It was a lesson that I made in 2010. It was one of my Ask Mr. Duncan lessons. I used to do a very regular show. Now, of course, that was before I started doing my live broadcasts. So, going way back in time, I hope some of the information in that video was useful to you. I really do. Lots of things still to come in around about 25 or 26 minutes from now. We have Mr. Steve in the studio. He's coming in today. We're going to give him a little bit of a test. We're going to see how many American words he knows and how many he can convert into British English. So we are going to do that a little bit later. Also, we are going to take a peek behind the scenes as well from one of my October lessons that I made in 2013, where I gave you a tour of my studio and talked about all of the equipment that I use. I do get lots of people writing to me asking, "Here, Mr. Duncan, you seem to have lots of lights and cameras and microphones in your studio. Can you please talk about them?" So today we are going to take a look behind the scenes. And of course, a little bit later on, we have, as I've already mentioned, Mr. Steve. We're also going to be talking about something that Mr. Steve made a few years ago and something that he started to make. We are talking video lessons. So Mr. Steve actually did start to make his own video lessons, not about English, about a completely different subject. So we will be taking a look at the pilot episode, the first episode of Mr. Steve's internet show, a little bit later on. So there is that to look forward to as well. Right now we are going to reveal today's mystery idioms. So here we go. 2 well-known phrases in English, and all you have to do is guess what they are. And of course you can give me the meaning as well. If you want to tell me what the idioms mean, you are more than welcome to do so. Here is today's first mystery idiom. So there it is, today's first mystery idiom. But what is it? What does it mean? Just say what you see. Say what you see. So there is a well-known expression in English, and here is the second one. Can I just warn you that the second one might not be very pleasant to look at, especially if you are eating your supper or maybe breakfast or perhaps lunch. So if you are eating at the moment, maybe this one is not for you. So here is the second mystery idiom. Oh dear me. I think I'm going to get complaints about this. So there is the second mystery idiom, and there is the first one. 2 mystery idioms for you to solve. And as always, as usual, I will give you the answers at the end of the broadcast. I am with you on YouTube as live can be. If you want to get in touch with me, of course you can. You can also follow me on Facebook. I hope you are having a good Sunday. My Sunday isn't too bad. It's going okay. I was in a bit of a rush today. It takes a lot of preparation, this program. I can tell you now, it takes a long time to prepare this. It takes about 2 days to prepare this live English lesson. Did you know that? So I don't just appear here by magic. There is a lot of preparation, a lot of things that go in to preparing this lesson. So I hope you appreciate it. That's all I'm saying. Live chat. T.S. Tia says, in my country, gambling is illegal. But if it's without money, then people do it just for fun. And I think it's okay. Thank you, T.S. But where are you? Where are you watching? I know many countries around the world, sometimes for religious reasons, they don't allow gambling. Sometimes because the law says that gambling is not allowed. Some people, of course, connect gambling with crime as well. So there are many reasons why in some countries gambling is not allowed. Tadas. Hello, Tadas. Thanks for joining me today on the live chat. Helena Blair says, hello, Mr. Duncan. Today you look very nice, very interesting. Thank you very much for that. I hope it is interesting. Sometimes I do worry. Sometimes at night I lie awake in my bed worrying that my live English lessons are not interesting. I do. I really do. I have nightmares about it. I'm asking you some questions, one of which is, what was or is your favourite subject at school? What was or is your favourite subject at school? Aurora Ruba says, my favourite subject at school was mathematics. Oh dear. Can I tell you now? I was terrible at maths. Really, I was so bad at mathematics. So I think the worst subject, or certainly the subject that I performed the worst in, mathematics, definitely. I was never very good at maths. In fact, even now, I'm not very good at it. Fabio says, Caracas, wow, it's a beautiful place, but also very dangerous. I don't know about that. I think maybe you are talking to someone else in the live chat. Nikolai is here. Hello, Mr. Duncan. Greetings from Bulgaria. It's Marty's birthday party at the moment, and he is my daughter's mate, and he has just become 3 years old. So a big happy birthday to Marty. Marty, happy birthday to you. Yes, it's your birthday. Yes, today it's your birthday. Hip hooray. Thank you, Marty, and also Nikolai. Marty is celebrating his 3rd birthday. Isn't that lovely? Olga says, Mr. Duncan, my favourite subject at school was maths as well. It would appear that a lot of people like mathematics. Thank you, Olga. Janet is here. Hello, Janet. Thanks for joining me today. Pedro says, my favourite subject at school was geography. I must admit, I think when I was at school, my least favourite subject, or at least one of my least favourite subjects, was geography. And the reason why I didn't like geography at school, not because the subject is boring. I don't think geography is boring. But the problem was, whenever we had geography class, everyone in the class would just mess around and play and make noise. So I still remember our geography teacher getting very angry and shouting at the class, "Please be quiet! Please be quiet! Shut up!" So that's the reason why I didn't like geography at school, because the lessons were normally very chaotic and the teacher was not very good at controlling the class. So that's the reason why. Although, having said that, geography is a very interesting subject. I think so. So Pedro, thank you very much for that. Good evening from Thailand. Chael Swiss is here. Hello Chael, thanks for joining me today on the live chat. It's live English. Shall we have today's first flash phrase with Mr. Steve? So here is Mr. Steve, recorded in the garden under the apple tree, and here he is with today's first flash phrase.
Take it with a pinch of salt is an English phrase. The phrase take it with a pinch of salt is an English expression that means don't take something as truth or fact. If you take something with a pinch of salt, it means that you don't actually believe what you've been told. For example, I would take what he said with a pinch of salt. You take something with a pinch of salt when you feel suspicious or doubtful of what someone said. Another example, we have been advised to take everything she promised with a pinch of salt. To take something with a pinch of salt means that you have doubts about the honesty of what was said or done. You take it with a pinch of salt.
And there he was, Mr. Steve under the apple tree with some flash phrases. We will join Mr. Steve later on under the apple tree, and also he will be live here in the studio at 3 o'clock. Today we are talking about the differences between American English and British English. We will be talking all about it, and I am going to give Mr. Steve a little test. I'm going to test his knowledge of English between British English and American English. So I'm going to give Mr. Steve some American English words, and I want him to tell me what the British equivalent is. The equivalent. So the thing that matches the other thing. The thing that is equal or the same as the other thing is equivalent. Equivalent. That's a lovely word, isn't it? Flash phrases coming later on, and also right now we'll have another look at the mystery idioms. The mystery idioms, there they are. There's the first one. I have had a few guesses already, and most of them are wrong. And also this one as well. I'm sorry if you are eating your supper or your breakfast or your lunch at the moment. I'm very sorry about that picture. So I hope you are not eating at the moment. I hope you are not eating your meal. And there is the first one. Can I say hello to someone very special? Can I say hello to Zena? Hello, Zena. Zena is watching at the moment with her 10-year-old son. So a big hello to Zena, and also your 10-year-old son as well. A big hello to you. Also, Charles Laurie is watching in Hungary. Thank you, Charles, for joining in. Julie G. Oh, Julie G does not like the new YouTube design. Julie G says, I don't like the new YouTube design. It is not good. John Travolta. I'm pretty sure it isn't the real John Travolta. Pretty sure. Oh, hey, Sandy, let's go for a bop. Let's go for a dance. Hey, Sandy, why did you hurt me, Sandy? That might be the worst ever John Travolta impression. John Travolta is watching in Italy, although I don't think it's the real John Travolta somehow. Janet says, oh, Mr. Duncan, I would love to travel to Hong Kong. I think, again, that is in response to one of the other chats that's taking place today. Live chat is very busy today. I've noticed over the past few weeks that many people are now talking in the live chat. So thank you very much. And quite often people are talking to each other in the live chat. Isn't that nice? So many people are chatting to each other. This is very unusual. Let's try to get past the conversation. Hello Sun is here. Hello Sun. I believe that Hello Sun is watching in Hong Kong. So I think that is the conversation that's taking place. Hello Mr. Duncan. Good morning from Sao Paulo. Sao Paulo. By the way, if you are leaving numbers, phone numbers or email addresses, I will have to remove them for various reasons. Hello Mr. Duncan, what does ta-ta mean? When I say ta-ta, it means goodbye. Ta-ta. So ta-ta means goodbye. We can also say ta-ra as well. So it is a British expression. It means goodbye. It is a fun and friendly way to say goodbye. Ta-ta. And of course, later on, just before I finish, you will hear me say ta-ta for now. Prasad Bakur is here. Hello there. Thank you very much for joining me today. Mr. Duncan, what does patronise mean? If you patronise someone, it means you speak or you insult a person's intelligence. You speak in a way that makes the person seem as if they are uneducated. You pretend to come down to someone else's level. So if you patronise someone, it means you talk down to them as if they are inferior. Patronise. Sometimes patronising occurs quite a lot, especially on television when presenters are talking to the public. Sometimes the public can be patronised. And of course politicians, when politicians talk to members of the public, sometimes they patronise them. They talk down to them. I hope that answers your question, Youssef. Thank you very much for that. Run money through your nose, says Fabian for today's mystery idiom. So, run money through your nose. You are very close, very close. So there is today's first mystery idiom, and there is the second one. But what are the answers to the questions? So, British English and American English, there are differences between the two. Certain words are different, and sometimes the spelling of certain words is different. And of course, there is another difference between American and British English, and that is the way in which grammar is used. So there are some differences between British and American English. We will take a look at that later on. We have a very long lesson to show you. It's 20 minutes, 20-minute long lesson today, all about English in America and also in the UK. More of the live chat because it's very busy today on the live chat. Nikolai says, Mr. Duncan, my favourite subject at school was music and also painting and literature. Other subjects that I found boring and very difficult were, for example, mathematics. Yes, as I mentioned earlier, I was not very good at mathematics at school. I always did very badly in the exams. However, I always did very well in English. So I was always very good at English, and also I was very good at science as well. I was very interested in science when I was at school. Fabian, thank you for your guess on the mystery idiom. Thank you very much. 1 or 2 people have got the answer right. Well done. Well done. So, do you ever gamble? Do you ever gamble your money? Quite often when we gamble, we normally put money or we bet money. It can be on anything really. In fact, you can gamble or you can bet on anything. Here in the UK, we have the lottery, the National Lottery, and that is where you choose a selection of numbers, and then on Saturday evening, if you get all of the numbers, if they match the ones that are revealed on the Saturday evening, you can win a lot of money. So that also is gambling. A lot of people don't realise that the lottery is also gambling. It is. So most people think that betting on a horse race or another type of sporting event is betting. Or maybe if you go to a casino, so you can gamble in a casino. A casino, you can play lots of different games like poker and roulette and blackjack. And you can play on the crap table. There is such a thing as a crap table. It's true. But also the lottery as well. The lottery is also a form of gambling. And over here in the UK, many people are now addicted to gambling. There are many ways to gamble, including on your mobile phone, on your smartphone. You can gamble. So gambling is something that you can get addicted to. So do you ever gamble? Is gambling allowed in your country? And another question, what was or what is your favourite subject at school? I think later on we will ask Mr. Steve this question. We will ask Mr. Steve what subjects he enjoyed at school. As I mentioned I loved science very much. I loved science and I loved biology, the study of the human body. And I had some very strange habits when I was at school. Now, just to give you an idea of the type of child that I was, just to give you an idea of the sort of boy that I was when I was young, I used to bring strange things to school to show my teacher. So what I would do, I would go to the local butcher shop and I would buy some organs from maybe a cow or sheep. Sometimes I would take a brain to school. So I would go to school and I would go to my biology lesson, and inside a plastic bag I would actually have a brain, a real brain, and I would take it to the teacher to show them. And I felt so pleased with myself. I did. Lucas is here. Hello, Lucas. Hi from crazy Brazil. Why is Brazil crazy? I don't know why you say that. I have started a new health fad. I'm trying to cut down on the amount of sugar that I eat. So instead, I'm putting honey in my food now. So instead of sugar, I just put a little bit of honey, a little drop of honey on my food. For example, on my breakfast cereal in the morning when I have my breakfast, I put some honey on my breakfast. And of course, you can have it in certain types of tea as well. So that is my current favourite food fad. A fad is something that you do for a short time, maybe something that is fashionable or something that you do as a habit, but quite often you do it for just a short time. For example, a few weeks ago, I was eating lots of eggs, but now I've stopped doing that. So this week I'm having honey on my food. So that is my latest health fad. Mr. Steve will be here in a moment, coming up in about 4 minutes time. In fact, he is now coming into the studio. Would you like to see Mr. Steve preparing? So this is Mr. Steve. He's preparing. He's not going to say anything yet, but here he is. Would you like to see Mr. Steve? He's just preparing. You're not on yet, Mr. Steve. He's getting he can't wait. We've still got 2 minutes, Mr. Steve. Don't worry. You can calm down. I know what happened. Mr. Steve heard me mention his name and he came running in because he thought it was already 3 o'clock. But don't worry, Mr. Steve, you have another minute to go. Ah, dear me. Some people are saying, Mr. Duncan, why don't you read my message out? I can't read everyone's messages. I'm very sorry because I only have a certain amount of time. And of course, I can't read everyone's messages. Luis Mendez is here. Hello, Luis. Thanks for joining me today. Also, Abdullah Omar is here. Hello, Abdullah. Nice to see you back. Lucas is here as well. Thank you, Lucas. Attila. Hello, Attila. Thanks for joining me today. I liked history a lot in middle school. And also I'm not very good at maths. Don't forget, in American English, they don't say maths. They say math. Math. So when in America they talk about mathematics, they say math. Here we say maths. Maths. There is an S at the end. So Mr. Duncan is here, and oh my goodness, it's 3 o'clock, everyone. And you know what happens now? Oh dear me. So it's live English. It's live English on a Sunday afternoon. It is the 3rd of September. We are now into September. Don't forget, you can find me every Sunday. I am here on YouTube every Sunday from 2 p.m. UK time. Every Sunday on YouTube. YouTube looks different now. They've changed it. It looks very different. What do you think of the new YouTube? Do you like it, or do you think it's horrible? So here he is, everyone. Mr. Steve is now in the building. Good afternoon, Mr. Steve. There he is. There he is. What are you doing? Sorry.
Hello. I'm in a bit of a rush today. I'm not quite ready. Sorry about that.
What was that in your hand?
That was a nose hair clipper. A nose hair clipper. We're not going to review that this week.
Wait a minute. What? Can you just show me what you do with that?
I think, was I caught then? Do you think anybody saw me using it?
You was definitely caught out there. I caught you there. You weren't prepared today. I can see you're already... You're still getting ready.
You can stick it in your ear as well.
Oh my goodness! But, we're not doing the automatic pump as well, are we, from last week?
No, and I'm definitely not going to read a long, boring review of this nose hair clipper.
Thank goodness for that. You know what happened last week? Some people tuned in last week and they thought it was a shopping channel.
Yes. I'm not surprised because I did ramble on a bit last week, Mr. Duncan.
You certainly did. I've got the word here. Oh, look at that. It's almost as if we rehearsed this. Look at that, ramble. So last week, I think Mr. Steve did talk quite a lot last week about the tyre inflator.
The tyre inflator, yes.
But we won't be mentioning that. Instead, I'm going to ask you, how was your week? Did you have a good week, Mr. Steve?
I did, Mr. Duncan. Thank you very much. Did you too? Yes, I had. Did you have a good week? Shall I ask you?
My week was all right. Not too bad. Thank you very much. Thanks for asking.
Well, of course, I've just been working, really, earning a living. The daily grind, as they call it. Working, I've been exercising. I've been trying to up my exercise routine by going back to doing running again. But running up hills, in fact. So I've been trying to get my heart pumping away to get myself fit and healthy for the winter.
There's nothing better than a pumping heart.
It's always a good sign. It's good if you can feel it and hear your heart pumping. You know you're alive. As
long as it's not going too fast, and as long as it's not coming out the top of your head, you're okay.
Or thumping out of your chest, like it is now, because I'm nervous. I'm nervous. My heart's beating hard in my chest because of the pressure of being on your show, Mr. Duncan, having to perform every week for you now. And did I tell you what else I've been doing this week as well?
What else have you been doing?
I've been playing the piano. Yes, I've been. You showed a couple of weeks ago an excerpt of me pretending to play the piano. Well, this week I thought, I used to play the piano years ago. I shall start again and have another go. So I've been practicing playing the piano and singing as well.
There is a fun expression. There is a fun way of describing playing the piano. Do you know what it is?
No.
If you're playing the piano, we can say that you are tickling the ivories.
Tickling the ivories, yes.
I love that expression. So if you are playing the piano, we can say that you are tickling the ivories.
And of course, that derivation would come from the fact that the white keys on a piano used to be made from the ivory tusks of elephants.
You take that away from here.
Not anymore. Plastic, I think. So I think that's what they mean when you're tickling the ivories. It's referring to the ivory tusks that the keys were made out of.
Sometimes my dentist tickles my ivories.
I should think he could get into trouble for that with the police.
Talking of pianos,
yes,
we have something to discuss here. A few years ago, you had the bright idea of launching your own internet program. How many episodes of this did you make?
Well, I was inspired, you see. I was inspired by Mr. Duncan doing his English shows and he's producing his English teaching videos on YouTube. And I thought, I can do that. I do a bit of piano, a bit of singing, and maybe I should launch my own channel. So I had a go, but it didn't get very far. I think I probably did a couple, and then work took over, life. And I'm very busy, you know. I'm in great demand for various things. And so I stopped doing it and probably should have carried on doing it. It might have been as successful as you are today.
Okay, we're going to take a look now. Now, what we are about to look at is the first episode, the pilot episode of something called In Tune with Mr. Steve.
Oh, dear. I'm not sure I want to see this.
So here it comes. This is the first ever episode, the pilot. When we say pilot, we mean the first episode made. Sometimes they make an episode of something to test it with the audience. So this is the pilot episode of Mr. Steve's very short-lived internet show called In Tune with Mr. Steve.
welcome to In Tune with Steve. Hi, I'm Steve, and welcome to this introduction. My series of lessons will be aimed at anyone who wants to learn about music. Although I'll be directing my lessons mainly towards singers and what's useful for them, a lot of what I shall be covering will be relevant to anyone involved in music. That's because whether you sing or play an instrument, there are certain basic rules that all musicians need to know.
Mr. Steve, can you just tell me what's going on here? You are looking very smart, can I just say?
Do you know, how old is that?
That is actually 2008.
9 years. 9 years ago. Yes, that's a long time ago. Of course, I haven't changed at all. Would you say? Would you say I look any different?
I think here's some more.
La la. So, in future lessons, I will take you through notes, time values, key signatures, how to read music, and other areas of music theory.
Have we had enough?
I think we know why that didn't continue.
I think that's brilliant. What do you think of Mr. Steve's internet show? What do you think of it? Did you like it? So there was Mr. Steve with his pilot episode. Now, I have to say that I also had a part in this because I produced it. So if we are going to criticise it, I suppose we are also going to criticise me as well because I did produce that programme. So I suppose I can't be too critical of it. I at the time I was thinking, I want to be as successful as Mr. Duncan. You wanted to be a star on YouTube.
I wanted to be a star on YouTube. That didn't happen because I only made 2 of them, I think. Was it 2? Did I make 2 or 3?
Yes, we made 2 episodes.
Yes.
We produced the pilot and then we produced the first proper episode, which lasted for about 5 minutes. And in that one, you were talking about breathing. I must find it. Maybe next week we can show episode 2, because there are only 2 episodes.
Breathing. How important is breathing? Yes. Very important for singing. Yes, we might talk about that another week.
If I'm not mistaken, they are still available on YouTube. They are somewhere on YouTube. They are now lost in the midst of time, covered with cobwebs and dust.
For all I know, I've got a million viewers and hundreds of thousands of subscribers. I don't even know.
You should check your channel out. You never know.
Maybe I'm a YouTube millionaire and I don't even know it.
That's it. Lots of unclaimed ad revenue.
Yes.
So, talking of things that we did during the week, we sat down last night and we decided to watch a movie last night, didn't we?
We searched around a lot, and you know what it's like when you're searching around looking for a film. Shall I watch that one? What's the ratings on that? Oh, I'm not sure about that one. And then we settled on something which turned out to be a big mistake.
A big mistake. We watched, I think it might be one of the worst films ever made. I think it was a terrible movie. There it is now on the screen. You can see it. It is a film starring Matt Damon. I'm going to be honest with you now. I'm not a big fan of Matt Damon. I don't think he's a very good actor. Now, a lot of people are going to disagree. They're going to say, Mr. Duncan, you are wrong. You should be taken outside and tied to a tree so people can throw rotten tomatoes at you. Well, talking of rotten tomatoes, Matt Damon's movies have received more than their fair share of rotten tomatoes. Can you see what I did there? So we watched a film called Elysium.
Elysium.
It sounds like a Spanish resort. Where did you go for your holidays? Well, I went to Elysium. It was very nice, a bit too hot, and the food gave me diarrhea. But Elysium is actually a film. It also sounds like a skin disease as well. You've got Elysium. Can you give me some cream, doctor, for my Elysium? So Elysium is a movie, a science fiction movie starring Matt Damon. I'm not a fan of Matt Damon. I don't think I've ever sat through a whole movie starring Matt Damon. So last night we watched this movie. I didn't like it, and nor did Steve.
We thought, let's give him a chance. We've never sat through a whole movie with Matt Damon in it. It looked promising, but the plot fell apart very quickly. It was laughable. It was laughable. I do like films about dystopian futures. Have you talked about that yet? Dystopian futures.
Dystopian.
Yes.
I like that word. I should write that down, really, shouldn't I?
Yes.
Let's see if I've got that word written down somewhere. I did write that word down.
Dystopian.
I can't find it now.
Yes.
Oh, there it is. It was right above my head all the time.
There it was.
Dystopian. There it is.
Yes.
So, dystopian. Do you know what dystopian means?
Yes. Well, it was the opposite of utopian, isn't it? So a utopian future would be a wonderful future where everything's going right, but a dystopian future is one where everything's gone wrong.
So it can be a period of time or a place or a situation where everything is terrible. Everything is awful.
Yes, there's been nuclear war, there's been all sorts of things. The sort of classic dystopian future film, sci-fi film, I think is probably Terminator, wouldn't you say? The Terminator films with Arnold Schwarzenegger, where there's been nuclear war, the robots have taken over. That's a dystopian future.
I don't know. I think dystopia might be today. I think Sunday, the 3rd of September, might be described as a dystopian day because, of course, North Korea have let off an N-bomb.
I believe they have. I was watching the news before we came in, and yes, well, who knows what could happen. It's probably just more saber rattling, and I expect America will say something in retaliation and they'll threaten each other with war, but probably and hopefully nothing will happen and we will end up with a utopian future and not a dystopian future.
So your take on North Korea is that everything will be okay next week?
Definitely. I'm going to be optimistic. Nobody wants war, although I will predict one thing. If you've got shares, I think on Monday they may drop a bit. I think the stock markets will react. And shares will drop, albeit only temporarily.
Right. Fine. Okay. So there is Mr. Steve's take on the future of planet Earth.
They just want nuclear weapons, and we don't want them to have them. But they'll probably end up with them because the only alternative would be for us to invade, which I don't think America wants to do particularly. So. We'll just let them have their weapons, is what I say. Have your nuclear weapons.
Okay, then there is Mr. Steve's stance on nuclear armament.
Yes.
This is a conversation I didn't think we'd be having today.
We didn't plan this one, did we, today?
We didn't plan this part. No, definitely not. So we're going to talk about American English. A lot of people ask me, Mr. Duncan, what is the difference between American English and British English? So what we're going to do today, I've got some words here, some American English words, and what you have to do is to tell me what the British word, the equivalent.
I see what you're doing, yes, I understand.
The equivalent word is. So I will give you an American word and you have to tell me what the British word is.
Okay.
So here we go. There are 20 of them. So we might be here until 4 o'clock.
Do I get a prize if I get them all right?
You get to come back next week.
Oh, how wonderful. And if I don't get them all right?
You get to come back every day.
All right. Okay.
So let's get rid of Matt Damon.
Away.
Let's get rid of Matt Damon first. Bye, Matt Damon. I thought Elysium was a load of crap. It's gone now.
Yeah,
so here we go.
2 hours of my life I can't get back.
I'm having the same feeling now. I'm sure many people are.
The first word.
So some American words here. The first word, so I'm going to give you the American word, and I want you to give me the British word.
Okay.
So what is... Was that an American accent then?
It sure was. I'm getting into the American accent so that I can determine which word is the English equivalent. I don't know what accent that was, but...
It sounded like Welsh. So here we go. Today's first word, American words that you have to give me the equivalent in British English. So first of all, Sidewalk.
Sidewalk. Pavement.
Mr. Steve
Am I right?
says pavement. He
one
says
right.
pavement. Yes, you are right. Sidewalk is pavement.
I can hear the applause already. Oh, yes.
I think that's a distant echo in your head.
Sidewalk or pavement.
Stop doing that, please. Please stop doing that. So, number 2, or our second. This is going to take a long time, by the way. I hope everyone has their cocoa and their sleeping bag, because this might go on for some time.
Well, I hope your viewers are trying to work it out for themselves as well.
Oh, good. Here's the second one. Hood.
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 Is this to do with a car? Is that bonnet or boot? What's hood?
Well, which one is it?
You're not on about a hood that covers your head. The hood. I think it's the bonnet. Am I right?
Are you sticking with bonnet?
I'm sticking with bonnet.
The front end of the car that covers the engine and can be lifted up is called the hood.
The hood.
Also, it can mean a gangster.
Yes. Who is covered up, presumably, so that you don't know that he's a gangster. Hood.
Sorry. What gangster movies have you watched? You've watched gangster movies where the gangsters all walk around with blankets over their head.
I was just guessing. I don't know why they call them a hood.
That doesn't sound right to me.
Hoodlums. It's short for hoodlums, isn't
That's
it?
it. That's
That's what it is.
So a hood is a hoodlum.
Hoodlum. A criminal.
Our third one is it only 3? We're only on the third one.
Third one. Right. Let's get it going faster.
You need to speed up here. YouTube wants its bandwidth back. Drapes.
Drapes. Curtains.
It certainly is for
It's
you.
curtains for you, Mr. Duck.
It's curtains for you. I got it.
It's curtains
I
for
said
me.
it first. I said it first.
If I don't get the next one right, it's curtains.
I said it first. I
Okay.
got it in first. So there.
Are we going to explain what that means, or are we just going to go on to the next one?
Well, you know what curtains are, don't you?
No,
Curtains.
I meant it's curtains. When you said it's curtains for me,
Oh, if you say it's curtains for someone, it means
Yes.
it's the end for them. Their end is approaching. It's
yes, it's curtains for you.
Curtains for you. The next
Number 4.
one.
So I've got 3 right.
I'm beginning to regret doing this. Mortician.
Mortician. Mortician.
Ooh.
I thought that was a British word. It's not. Undertaker. Undertaker.
You are near.
Embalmer. No.
the right area.
Gravedigger. No.
It is actually funeral director.
Funeral director.
A person who directs the funeral. They take care of the person who is now deceased. They are now dead.
Right.
They have shuffled off this mortal coil and gone to join the choir invisible. The next one.
And number 5. Okay, so I sort of got that one half right.
You did? Almost. Is it only number 5? Oh my goodness, this is going to take all day.
20. Might have to cut it down.
Janitor.
Janitor would be somebody who sweeps floors and things like that in America. So what we would call them... I can't think of the word for janitor over here. Somebody that sweeps floors and cleans up in hospitals and schools and things like that.
They will never fit that on the door. That's a big sign on the door, isn't it? No, actually it's caretaker.
Caretaker. Janitor, caretaker.
So in
Janitor, caretaker. Number 6.
Number 6.
I can't see, but I know you're pulling a face.
Can you tell from the back of my head that I'm pulling a face?
There's steam coming from from where you are.
The next American word that I want the British equivalent of is faucet.
Faucet, that's a toilet.
toilet?
Or is it urinal? It's
No,
something to do with toilets.
No, wait there. Force it is what you do on the toilet. You force it.
You force it if you've got constipation.
It won't come out. I have to force it.
Force it. So what is it in English?
Force it is tap.
Oh, tap.
Water tap.
Well, yes, it's water. It's like yes, that's it. It's like a lever, isn't it? Or a tap.
I'm starting
Right.
to think giving you a 5-year contract on this show was a bad idea.
Some Americans don't use the word tap. They use force it, do they? I didn't know
They say
that.
force
Okay.
it.
Okay.
So turn the faucet on, turn the faucet
Turn on the faucet. Okay.
off.
I think tap's better, but
Next one. I think this one is easy.
okay.
We are both going down. Elevator.
Elevator. So that would be a lift in English. A lift.
Lift. You are right. So elevator, you go from floor to floor, up
Yes.
or down. You go up and down in an elevator.
Or a lift.
Lift.
If you're in the UK.
This one, be careful what you say here. Period.
Period. Period.
I will give you a clue. It's to do with English grammar, or grammar in general.
Period. I wonder if anyone out there, if any of you got that one. Anybody want to message Mr. Duncan very quickly? Period.
Period. What
It's
is
the
period?
American version. English. Period. I was thinking that's not like a month, is it? No, or nothing to do with time. No, time period. No. Put us out of our misery. Has anybody got it right? Is anybody still watching?
Look, I might tune away in a minute. I might actually switch off. You'll be on your own.
Period.
You'll be on your own. It'll be the Mr. Steve hour. It is actually full stop. It's a full stop. So at the end of a sentence, you put a full stop. So a period is actually full stop. Hello, son says full stop, and also
done.
Jamelia says full stop.
Well
as
done. I didn't know that.
Well done. You are stars.
Quite an obscure one, but well.
Stars. The next one, Mr.
knowing.
Duncan, Mr. Steve. I'm having an out of body experience now. I'm actually floating above myself, watching me doing this. The next one is sweater.
Sweater. So that would be a jumper or a cardigan. Jumper in UK parlance.
What?
It's hot in here. I'm going to take off my sweater.
I'm sorry. Are you one of the original pilgrims that landed in America? What did you just say there? What was that word you just used?
Parlance.
Parlance.
It's just sort of a French sort of way of saying. Well, English people said it's. I think it's French. It just means talking.
Oh, I see. Okay then.
Yes.
If you say so.
Yes.
Sweater.
Oh yes. Sweater. Was I right? Was it a jumper in English?
And it definitely isn't a fat lady at the gym.
The answer, please.
Oh, okay. You don't know what a sweater is?
Jumper.
Jumper.
Yes.
Yes.
I was right.
Okay.
I thought so.
Why are we arguing?
I didn't know if I was right or not.
It's like North Korea all over again. Interstate.
Interstate, I think is how you pronounce it.
I'm going to go over there at the minute and literally smash that camera up so you can never appear on this show again.
Is that interstate? So that's some. Is that like a motorway? No, no. That's interstate.
You don't seem sure.
It's something to do with travelling. Something to do with travelling. Tell us, Mr. Duncan.
Interstate, or of course you could have freeway.
Freeway. Well, that is, of course, motorway.
Motorway, the main road where there are more than one lane on either side. So if you have lots of lanes going either way, it is normally called a freeway, or we can call it interstate in American English, and in British English we call it Motorway.
Motorway.
Motorway. Motorway.
Motorway M1.
Motorway A1.
Right.
Motorway.
It must be nearly 4 o'clock.
I must admit, my American accent is better than yours. Motorway.
Leave that up to the viewers, I think. What number are we up to now? We've even got to 10 yet.
I have no idea what number we are on now.
What's the next?
The next one is yard.
Yard. Ah, yes, that is like in backyard. Is that what you mean there? Like in backyard? So that's your yard, or the garden would be close, maybe. Backyard. It's sort of your back garden, isn't it?
Yes, you are right. Garden. So yard is garden. In American English, they tend to say yard. In the yard, they play in the yard. Here, we play in the garden. Very good. Next one is apartment.
Apartment, that would be, in the UK, that would be a flat.
Yes, it would. Flat.
A flat.
Yes, you are right. Apartment in American English is flat. We live in a flat or a high-rise flat.
Have you ever lived in a flat, Mr. Duncan?
I've never lived in a flat.
I have.
Have you?
When I was a student many years ago, I lived in a high-rise block of flats. It was a very interesting experience. I wouldn't do it again. But you can get very nice flats or apartments. But I think we use the word apartment a bit more in the UK these days, don't we? I've heard people talking about apartments.
That is true. Yeah. In fact, this is probably a good opportunity to mention that a lot of American expressions have creeped or crept into British English, and of course vice versa. The other way around, a lot of British expressions have made their way into American English. So sometimes the two things do cross over like that.
They do indeed.
Next one, let's have a look. Oh, this is an interesting one. We're talking food now. Zucchini. What is zucchini known as here?
Zucchini. I have no idea. Perhaps, does anybody out there know what zucchini is?
Zucchini.
Is it some kind of sauce? No?
It is a type of vegetable.
Vegetable. Carrots, cabbages, beetroot.
It is actually courgette.
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 Oh, zucchini.
Zucchini.
I don't think I've even heard that word before.
The next one, the American English word, stove.
Stove. Stove would be, in English, would be a cooker.
Yes, you're right. Cooker.
Yes.
So a cooker is the area normally you cook things on. Normally there are flames that you cook over. So yes, in American English they tend to say stove. In British English we often say cooker.
We say it how it is. It cooks.
Cooker. Next one, here's one for Steve. Trunk.
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 Trunk, that's to do with cars again. Trunk in America, in English, that's the boot.
Boot,
The
yes,
boot
well
of the
done.
car.
Those, of course, are very easy for Mr. Steve because he loves cars very much.
Where you store your suitcases when you're going on holiday.
Yes, that's another way of using it, but in this sense, trunk is the back of the car where you put stuff.
See, when you say trunk, I'm just thinking of like an elephant's trunk.
Well, you would. You would.
Boot, right. We must be up to about 16 now.
I don't know. I think I'm just making them up in my head now. They're just coming out of my brain. It's like I'm possessed.
Right. Any more for any more?
Yes, and another one. Check.
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 Check, please.
Check.
Is that what you mean?
Just
Check,
show that.
please.
The spelling is very interesting. Check.
So that would be the bill in the UK.
You are right, yes. So in American English, they will say, "Hey guys, can I have the check, please?" Can you do it? Can you do it in American English?
Can I have the check, please? That's Southern. Southern American. Whereas I would just ask for the bill. Or you can just sort of, do that in the air. People know what you mean there. That's like you're writing a cheque, isn't it?
Can you do that again, Steve?
Can I have the bill?
Yeah, you're holding your hand so far away. Just do it so it's on camera. That's it. Actually, that looks like you're doing something else there, but there you go.
And then if they don't see you, you feel embarrassed.
Yes.
You want the check, so there's the way.
Check, please. You normally say, check, please. Check, please. That is the international sign for check, please. So if you are in a restaurant and you want to have the check or the bill, you'll go like that. And then the waiter will go...
and will bring you your bill or your check with a mint. Because you tend to get mints with your bill.
A mint. A nice refreshing mint to put in your mouth. That normally comes with the bill or the check. The next one. Attorney.
Attorney. Right, attorney in English would be a lawyer.
Yes, well done. Lawyer.
Be right there.
Or, of course, you could have had solicitor.
Solicitor or lawyer.
The next one, we've only got 3 more. This is the 17th word. Eggplant.
Eggplant. Eggplant is... it's a vegetable. I feel as though I'm turning into one as I'm standing here. Eggplant is... oh, I just can't remember. It's something... it's not courgette. We've had that. It's not cucumber. Eggplant. I don't know. Is it sweet potato?
Sweet potato? No, you're near. Shall we leave this? I tell you what. Shall we ask one of our viewers?
Eggplant.
What do you think?
Yes.
What do you think the eggplant is better known as in British English? Anyone know?
The first person to get it right wins this second-hand nose clipper as a prize.
Don't give stuff away. You're going to have to send that now. You know that. You've got to post that to someone now. And it's got all your nose hair inside it. And all of the debris from inside your face. Oh, my goodness.
I'll clean it first.
Jamelia says, well done. Oh, yes, well done, Jamelia. That's what I've got to say, you see. Aubergine or aubergine.
Aubergine, of course.
Aubergine.
Thought of that.
You know, if I was a stripper in a nightclub, if I was a beautiful, sexy lady and I worked in a nightclub and I had to sort of dance provocatively like this, I think I would call myself Aubergine. That would be my name. That would be my stage name if I had to dance in a go-go bar. Hi, my name is Aubergine.
A purple vegetable.
There's no answer to that. So aubergine, thank you, Tomek, and also
well done.
And also Hello Sun as well got aubergine right. 2 more.
Very clever, your viewers.
This is going on for so long.
2 more.
The next
19.
one. Pharmacy.
Pharmacy. Over here would be chemist.
Ah, yes. A chemist. We can say chemist.
Chemist.
In American English, they say pharmacy. Also, sometimes, I don't think they use it anymore, but they sometimes say druggist.
Yes, or drugstore.
Yes. So they have quite a few versions of that particular one. So pharmacy.
Pharmacy. We use pharmacy a lot now. That's really crept into British English.
That's a good example of how an American expression becomes a British expression. So lots of people now don't say the chemist. They don't say I'm going to the chemist to get some cream for my sore bottom. They say I am going to the pharmacy to get some cream for my sore ass.
Number 20. Is there a drum roll for the grand prize?
I meant arse. Sorry, I meant arse because arse that's British. That's British English. And sorry, that it should actually be sore arse.
Is that the American
not
version?
sore ass. Sore ass. Ass is American. arse British.
Not sure people want to know about your sore ass, but never mind. Shall I give you a drum roll?
Faster, faster, faster. Okay, the next one. The final one, and I think this is a really good word.
Hit me with it.
It's very tempting. Garbage.
Garbage. Garbage. In English, that would be rubbish.
Yes, it certainly would.
Rubbish. Garbage in America, rubbish.
That's quite English. I think that's quite a good one to end on, actually. Garbage.
So. Yes.
As in, this show is a load of garbage, or maybe a load of rubbish. Or, of course, in American English, they sometimes say trash.
Trash.
Well, trash. We can use trash here as well. Trash in British English often means to destroy something. If you break something up or destroy something, you trash it.
Trash it.
You tear it to pieces. Yes. So there. Thank you, Mr. Steve. Now we are going to take a look now, because we are running out of time. We are going to take a look at another one of your flash phrases, and here is something that we recorded yesterday. So take a look at this.
I haven't seen it yet.
Let your hair down. Let your hair down is an English phrase. The phrase let your hair down is an expression that means to let yourself go and have a great time. To have uninhibited or outgoing fun is to let your hair down. For example, it's good to let your hair down now and again. I feel like letting my hair down tonight to celebrate my 10th anniversary on YouTube. To party and let your inhibitions go is to let your hair down. To rejoice, party, let yourself go, paint the town red, you let your hair down.
That's brilliant. Thank you, Mr. Steve. Oh, we missed out the part with the apples. I'm sorry about that. We cut the apples off. So there you were yesterday in the garden. Now, we recorded these yesterday afternoon. Now, a lot of people think that doing this is easy. They think that appearing on the internet and sitting in front of a camera is easy, but it isn't, is it?
No, it isn't.
And now we are going to prove just how difficult this can be sometimes.
You let your hair go. Let your hair... I was going to say, let your hair go now. I can't do it now. Put your head down. Oh, my eyes are watering. Let your head down. Oh, hang on. We get the tears away.
To be honest, I could do without any outtakes, to be honest.
Oh, guess who that was? Let your hair down is an English phrase. The phrase let your hair down is an Oh dear, I can't stop thinking of let your hair go. That's some kind of disease. Let your hair down. Let your hair down. Oh. Try it again. Let your hair down. Let your hair down is an English phrase. The phrase let your hair down is an expression. It just sounds ridiculous.
Okay, hold it up again.
Oh,
hold it up again, and just read Just read the last. Just read the last. To rejoice, party, let yourself go.
Okay then. I'm sorry, Hare. I'm just going to have to let you go. To rejoice, party. Oh, hang on.
It's 2 bloody lines.
To rejoice, party, let yourself go, paint the town red, you let your hair down. Oh,
What? I love the thing at the end that you do with your hat. Cut. Dear. Oh dear.
Mr. Duncan, I think you were beginning to get a bit frustrated there. You were losing your temper with me a bit there.
Do you think so?
Because
Now, why would I get so irate and bad-tempered and impatient with you? Why on earth would I do that? How many takes did we do yesterday of that? We did about 15 takes. In fact, in the clip that you just saw, we didn't use all of the outtakes. There were many more. In fact, we could have had about 15 minutes of outtakes. Mr. Steve, you were having a lot of problems there. Now, the reason why you did that was because you said you said instead of let your hair down, you said...
I said let your hair go.
Let your hair go, which of course is not an English expression. It doesn't mean anything. If you let your hair go, it means you are getting rid of it. So maybe you could let your hair go if you are making it wild and free, I suppose. But we don't normally use that expression. It's very odd. So that's the reason why Mr. Steve got very, very flustered. And he found it very difficult to say, let your hair down. Because
I was sorry to interrupt. You could say that I let my hair go years ago because I haven't got any.
You certainly did let your hair go. Well, I've got no room to talk. I've got no room to talk because I also lost a lot of my hair has also waved goodbye.
Perhaps we could start this as a new expression. For people who are bald, we could say, I just let my hair go.
I let it go. I wanted to be bald.
Yes.
Every night when I went to sleep, I wished to myself, I said, I hope my hair disappears and I look like a big billiard ball.
I think he was going to take it quite that far.
Why would you do that?
By the way, that was the only time I laughed yesterday, was when we were doing that particular segment. That word.
You really had a bit of a sulk yesterday. What was wrong with you? You woke up yesterday. I think Mr. Steve got out of bed on the wrong side.
Yes, I don't like getting. Trouble with the weekends is you get out of bed, you tend to lie in. So you're going to work, you get up sort of 7 o'clock in the morning maybe, but then a weekend you think, I'm going to lie in. So you go to bed later, but then you wake up at the normal time anyway. And then you keep falling off back to sleep and you get less sleep than you otherwise would have done. So I think you wake up feeling a bit grumpy, which is what I did yesterday. And that cheered me up. After that, I was fine for the rest of the day.
Well, that's good then. I suppose really we can't complain then, can we?
And now, of course, I'm cheerful because I'm appearing with you on your show. So obviously, that's cheered me up.
Sadly, we don't have time to show the full version of my American and British English lesson, so we might do that during the week, or of course, I could upload it to YouTube during the week.
Oh, I'd like to see that.
Yes, it's very interesting. It's about 20 minutes long. In fact, it's a new version of the old lesson that I made a few years ago, but I've taken a lot of the music out because I thought that the music was too loud and it interfered with the enjoyment of the lesson. So it is a re-edited version, actually. It's a re-edited version of my British American English lesson. I might show it next week. We will see how I feel. It's time for Mr. Steve to say goodbye.
Oh.
Can you believe you've been here for 45 minutes?
45 minutes? It seems like 10.
You know what I'm thinking? I think we should extend this lesson. I think we should make it 3 hours. What do you think? Do you think this lesson should be 3 hours long?
It's up to you to say.
Yes, if you want 3 hours of Mr. Steve and Mr. Duncan, please let me know.
Perhaps they want less than 2 hours, not more than 2 hours.
Oh, dear me. So, we will see you next week, Mr. Steve.
Okay.
I hope you have a super duper week.
I haven't got my prize yet for getting a lot of those words right. I think I'm going to take something with me. How about this box?
Yes. Well, tell me about that.
I'm taking this with me. Bye. See you next week.
Oh my goodness, what on earth was that? Thank you very much. If you just joined us, you are now watching a video featuring Mr. Steve. He's just gone, by the way, and me, Mr. Duncan. It's live English all the way, and now we are going to take a look at a lesson. Shall we have a look at something to do with I'm thinking prepositions. Shall we have a look at a lesson all about prepositions and their uses? Hi everybody, this is Mr. Duncan in England. How are you today? Are you okay? I hope so. Are you happy? I hope so. In today's lesson, I'm going to talk about a group of words which for many students can cause quite a lot of confusion. Yet they need not, as they exist in almost all forms of written and spoken language. In fact, I'm using them right now as I speak to you. In today's lesson, we are going to take a look at prepositions. A preposition is a word that helps us to construct and define meaning in a sentence. Prepositions are like the glue of a sentence. They formulate the relationship between certain words. They articulate. They help us define what we want to say. They help us to join words with meaning together. They are purely functional words, sometimes having no apparent definition. Yet without them we would find it very hard to make ourselves understood. Prepositions usually come before nouns. However, they don't always follow or come after nouns. In English grammar, a determiner, such as the, can be placed between a preposition and a noun. Let us not forget that adjectives may also come between a preposition and a noun. On white horses. Up dark alleys. Over green hills. No matter how it is used in a sentence, a preposition never changes its form. Prepositions are mostly used singularly, on their own, in a sentence. They normally consist of 6 letters or less. There is also the 2-word form of a prepositional clause, and a 3-worded group as well. Prepositions are usually placed among other words within a sentence. However, sometimes they come at the very end of one, which some people object to. The overall description of a preposition defines the way in which a sentence is constructed. The general term for this is adposition. This type of word defines other formations, such as a postposition, which formulates the sentence after the noun. Postpositions exist in other languages, such as Japanese and Turkish. There is also the circumposition, where 2 defining parts appear on both sides of the dependent noun. Generally speaking, prepositions are the ones most commonly used, especially in English. Having said that, there are postpositions in English, such as ago, apart, aside, away, hence, on, and through. 10 years ago. This apart. Such matters aside, 10 light years away, 5 years hence, 2 weeks on, the whole night through. Deep, 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 deep. Deep, 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 deep. Another variation of preposition use is stranding. This is when a preposition occurs where it normally would not, yet still expresses a meaning. A good example is the sentence, "Who did you give it to?" This works because it is an interrogative sentence. The word who appears at the beginning of the sentence, so to can end the sentence as it clearly refers to who. This form of sentence is most commonly found in English. The use of prepositions at the end of a sentence has for many years been the subject of argument. Should a sentence be allowed to end with one? Despite the fact that there is no rule preventing a preposition ending a sentence, there are those who are against it being done. The earliest recorded objection to the use of prepositions at the end of sentences came in the 17th century by the poet John Dryden, who mistakenly likened the English language to Latin, which does not allow prepositions to end any sentence. Fortunately for us, this rule was never followed. So, if you want to ask, "Where do you come from?" or "Where are you going to?" you still can. Over the years, words used in English have changed and altered, and prepositions are no exception. A few of them have become obsolete during the last century. A couple of good examples being unto and twixt. The preposition clause allows sentences to be formed. They allow nouns to be used in an expressive way. They colour in the parts of a phrase which would otherwise sound disjointed and confusing. They define the placement of an object with something else, its position, its appearance, its movement, and its intention. It would be fair to describe prepositions as the building blocks of sentences. Without them, we would not be able to express clearly what we want to say. They hold the context of the sentence in place. They help to place actions with nouns and nouns with other nouns. The most commonly used prepositions are of, to, in, for, with, and on. I hope you have enjoyed today's lesson and that you have found it helpful. I will see you again very soon for another English class. Until then, this is Mr. Duncan in England saying thank you for watching me, teaching you, and of course, ta-ta for now. And there it was gone. So there it was, a lesson all about prepositions, a part of the English language that some people have difficulty with. Thanks a lot for your lovely comments today. I cannot stop laughing when I see Mr. Steve says Jiang Tran Huang. Wish you have a good week, Mr. Duncan, and many thanks for your live stream. Thank you, Helena. And also Shirin asks, what is the difference between especially and specially? They are both things that are your favourite or the thing that you wish to highlight. So especially, I like every day of the week, but I especially like Thursday. So we normally say especially. Thank you very much for your comments and questions. I am almost out of time. Oh my goodness, I don't know about you, but I think today's live stream has gone very quickly. They always seem to go by so fast. So before we leave, we will have a look at the mystery idioms. Here they are. I thought today's mystery idioms were quite easy, although maybe the expressions might be things that you're unfamiliar with. So let's have a look, shall we? So the first mystery idiom, the answer is Pay through the nose. Pay through the nose. The meaning is to pay more than the fair price. If something cost you more than the reasonable price, you can say that you had to pay through the nose for it. And I do like this one. This picture is quite disgusting. I do apologise to all those who are eating their food or having a meal. So, what is this particular idiom? It is open a can of worms. Open a can of worms. The meaning is to create a situation that causes trouble and unpleasantness. So something that you do or something that you've done has created a bad situation. Your actions have opened a can of worms. Ugh. Okay, we will get rid of that horrible image of all of those worms squirming and squiggling. It's time for me to go. I hope you've enjoyed today's live stream. I'm going to say thank you to a few people now. Thank you very much to Olga, to also Jamal, and also to Julie G. Thanks for joining me today. Also Bruno Marino. Thank you very much for coming along and clicking on my face. Thank you very much. I will be back with you next Sunday from 2 p.m. And of course, Mr. Steve will be here as well once again. Esther, thank you very much for watching me today. And finally, before I leave you, thank you to Shirin, to Huvan Crystal, Toshal, and Maria. Maria, I'm saying goodbye to Maria. In fact, I'm saying goodbye to everyone because it's almost time to go. Thank you, Mr. Duncan and Mr. Steve. Edeltraud Schmid says, have a great weekend. You too, have a super duper rest of the weekend because the weekend has not yet ended. Don't forget, you can watch this live stream again from the beginning. And of course, there will be subtitles underneath provided by YouTube. Thanks, YouTube. You're ever so kind. Janet, see you next Sunday, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Duncan. You are welcome, Janet, and I will see you very soon. Nelson says, thank you, Mr. Duncan. Thank you very much for showing me the worms during my lunch. Thanks for showing me the worms. Oh, I'm very sorry about that. There they are again, waving goodbye. I will see you later. Thank you, Eleanor. Thank you, Attila. And one final goodbye before we go. Sergio says, thanks a lot, Mr. Duncan. I will present my IELTS exam this Friday. Okay, I will keep my fingers crossed and also my thumb up for you. Good luck with that. I will see you next Sunday, 2 o'clock UK time. This is Mr. Duncan in the birthplace of English saying thank you very much for watching me, and I will see you next Sunday from 2 p.m. UK time. Have a super duper Sunday and have a great week, won't you? This is Mr. Duncan in the birthplace of the English language saying, on behalf of Mr. Steve and of course myself, ta-ta for now.